You have been told in 100 quiet ways that you are bad at this. Not in those words, exactly. It comes softer than that. A friend saying you should really put yourself out there more. A parent asking, a little too gently, if you have made any friends yet. The way a room fills up with easy laughter while you stand just outside it, holding a drink, waiting for a door that never quite opens. Everyone else seems to lock on instantly, two strangers finishing each other's sentences. And you are still turning the dial, moving through static, trying to find the frequency they found, without even trying. So somewhere along the way you decided this means something is wrong with you. Stay with me. Because I think you have been reading the wrong signal the whole time. Today we are going to look at the psychology of people who struggle to make friends. Not the shy version everyone talks about. The deeper version. The one where you actually want connection. You are not cold, you are not broken, and it is still hard. And by the end, I want you to see the thing you have called a flaw for exactly what it is. A receiver built too well. Here is the first thing nobody tells you. You are not bad at friendship, you are bad at shallow friendship. And those are not the same skill. Watch what happens in a normal social setting. Someone asks how your weekend was. The correct answer, the easy answer, is fine, you. A small exchange of nothing. A handshake made of words. Most people can do this on autopilot all day and feel perfectly content leaving it right there. But something in you resists. You hear how was your weekend and part of you wants to actually answer. To say the true thing. To skip the surface and reach for the part that matters. And when the conversation stays polite and thin, you feel it as a kind of static. Pleasant enough, meaningless. So you go quiet. Not because you have nothing to say. Because the thing you have to say does not fit the size of the moment. And it is not only the one-on-one moments. Put yourself in a group, and it gets stranger. Everyone laughs at a joke, and you laugh half a beat late. Because you were actually listening to it, turning it over, instead of just riding the wave of the room. By the time you have something real to add, the conversation has already moved 3 topics down the road. So you swallow it. Again, there is a real reason this happens, and it is not a defect. Deep friendship is genuinely rare, and it is genuinely slow. A researcher named Jeffrey Hall studied how long it actually takes for 2 people to move from acquaintance to close friend, and the number is uncomfortable. It takes something like 200 hours. 200 hours of ordinary, unremarkable time, spent together before a stranger becomes someone who really knows you. Most people are fine collecting a wide layer of casual contacts along the way to that. Light connections, nice enough. You are not fine with. You are trying to skip to hour 200 by hour 2. And of course that feels like failing. But look closer at what that really means. You are not slow at making friends. You are unwilling to fake the shortcut everyone else takes. There is a difference between someone who cannot connect and someone who refuses to pretend a stranger is a friend. Sound familiar? But here is where it gets more interesting. Because the standard is only half of the story. Think about what you actually do when you meet someone new. You do not just talk to them. You read them. You catch the half-second of hesitation before they answer. You notice the smile that stops at the mouth and never reaches the eyes. You register the tiny shift in someone's tone that quietly tells you they have somewhere else they would rather be. Other people walk into a room and see people. You walk into a room and see signals. Psychologists have a name for the anxious edge of this. Rejection sensitivity. It is the tendency to expect rejection before it even arrives, to scan for it constantly, and to feel it in places where it may not exist at all. Geraldine Downey's research mapped how deeply this pattern can run in a person. You do not wait to be turned away. You watch for the turning away so closely that you often reach for the exit first, just to reach it before they do. And underneath that, quieter still, is something the body itself does. Hypervigilance. A nervous system that stays half alert in every social moment, scanning faces the way you would scan a dark road at night. Ready. Just in case. You might rehearse a text for 10 minutes before sending 3 words. You might replay a small comment you made for hours afterward, checking it for damage. Not because you are self-obsessed. Because your system treats every social move like it carries a real risk, and it desperately wants to get it right. Do you know that feeling? Where you leave a completely normal, friendly conversation and you are strangely exhausted and you cannot explain why. That is why. You were not just chatting. You were running a full threat scan the entire time, and nobody could see it. Not even you. So now you have a person built with 2 rare features at once. a connection standard set all the way to depth, and a radar tuned to danger. Put those two things together, and casual friendship becomes almost impossible. The standard says do not settle for static. The radar says do not trust the signal too fast. No wonder the dial keeps turning and turning. Now let me ask you the harder question, the one underneath all of this. Where did the radar come from? Because you were not born scanning rooms. Somewhere along the line it got installed. For a lot of people who struggle here, the receiver got sensitive very early. Maybe you grew up somewhere the mood in the house could change without warning, and reading the adults in the room accurately was not a talent. It was safe. Maybe closeness always seemed to come with a cost, so you learned to check the ground before you put your weight on it. Maybe love was there, but conditional, and you figured out young that being liked was something you had to monitor, not something you were ever allowed to relax into. You were not being dramatic back then. You were adapting. A child who learns to read people that precisely is almost always a child who needed to. And it worked. It kept you safe. The problem is that the system never got the memo that the danger passed, so it still runs. In the coffee shop, in the group chat, in the strange moment when a new person seems to genuinely like you, and instead of relief you feel a small flicker of, wait, why? The radar cannot tell the difference between a threatening room and a safe one. It only knows how to stay on. And that is the part that hurts the most, isn't it? Not that you cannot connect. That you want to, badly, and the very system that once protected you is now standing at the door, checking everyone twice, quietly turning away people who would have been kind. So let me say the thing you have been waiting a long time to hear. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not a broken radio. You are a high-sensitivity receiver. You were built, or you were shaped, to pick up more than the people around you pick up. More nuance. More warning, more depth. The reason casual friendship feels like static is not that you are defective at tuning. It is that your receiver refuses to lock onto a station that is half noise. It is holding out stubbornly for one clear signal. There is a reason for this you can almost feel in your body. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar found that even the most social people alive can only truly hold a handful of close friends at the center of their lives, a small inner circle. Everything past that is a wider, looser ring of acquaintances. Most people just live comfortably out in the wide ring. You have been standing at the center the whole time, waiting for someone who actually belongs there, and mistaking the empty seats for proof that you failed. And here is what the research quietly confirms. The longest study ever done on human happiness, the Harvard Study of Adult Development, followed people for more than 80 years, and its central finding was not about how many friends anyone had. It was about the depth of a few. Quality, not quantity. The exact thing your system has been demanding this entire time. While you called it a flaw, you have been measuring yourself against people who collect 50 stations of static and calling yourself the failure. But you were never trying to collect 50. You were trying to find one that comes through clean. That is not a smaller life. Held the right way, it might turn out to be the fuller one. I want to be honest with you though, because this is where it gets real, and I am not going to pretend it away. The radar can overcorrect. It will sometimes flag a perfectly safe person as a threat, and you will walk away from something good because your system misread ordinary noise as danger. That part is worth working on, not by lowering your standard, by slowly, patiently teaching the receiver that some of the static is just static, and some of the signals really are safe to trust. That is not fixing something broken. There is nothing broken here. It is learning to trust an instrument that has only ever been trying to protect you. So here is what I want you to do. In the comments, tell me which part of this felt like it was written about you. The 200 hours. The friendly conversation that somehow left you drained, the moment someone likes you, and you flinch. I read every single one, and I think you will find you are far less alone in this than the quiet has let you believe. You do not need to become someone who locks onto every station in the room. You just need to learn to trust the receiver that was always quietly listening for something real. Subscribe to keep decoding yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.